So let's do a little recap on David's story. David was about 17 years old when Samuel anointed him. For a brief time, the boy returned to his flock. Then came that turning point where he killed Goliath and went to King Saul's palace. Those glory days were short-lived, for soon David had to run for his life. He fled for 13 years before he received news that King Saul was dead. In a tragic end to the king's life, he'd thrown himself on his own sword. Now it looked as if the way was finally clear for David to claim the throne of Israel, but David didn't immediately march into Jerusalem. Those years in dark, lonely places and foreign soil had clarified his heart and ears to listen for God's voice. So he asked God if he should go back to Judah. Instead, God told him to go to Hebron. So David and his men went to that town. It's about 20 miles south of Jerusalem. For 7.5 years, he stayed there with a very limited reign over Judah. David was content to stay where God told him to for as long as it took. Well, finally, the elders of Israel came to David and made him king over all of Israel. I mean, did you catch all of that? That's 20 years from the promise until the fulfillment. Once David became king, everything flourished under his leadership. But prosperity wasn't enough for David. He started to give free rein to his desires. While David may have been content to wait on God during those 7.5 years in Hebron, he made some bad choices during that time. And once he was king in Jerusalem, he added 5 more wives to the one he had. David's strength was his passion, but it was also his Achilles heel.